Did you know that letter names are not important to learning to read? Now, before you decide that I've lost my mind and have no business teaching kids to read, please hear me out. But first, you probably need to know who I am and why you should listen to me. I'm Paula Smith, founder of Reading Success Academy and spellingclasses.com. I've been getting kids reading on grade level in 12 clinical hours or less using the phonographics method. I've been using that program for over 20 years now. Now, back to letter names. This morning, I received this message from the parent of one of my young students in Taiwan. It read, "This week, my son took a placement test in a physical English academy, and the teacher there told me he has difficulties distinguishing letter names from letter sounds. My son attends a full Chinese kindergarten where English is not taught. Strictly speaking, he didn't have any English lessons before taking your reading class. He learned his letter names mainly from songs, but when he started practicing letter sounds with you, he gets confused with what to say when he sees a letter." This student is only 5 years old and being taught too much information for a young learner. At this point in his learning, letter names are not important at all. I know that may be surprising to hear, but new research has shown that learning letter names before learning the sounds just creates confusion, which is what this student is experiencing now. Letter names have no impact on reading. You do not need to know the names of the letters to read, just as you don't need to know the name hammer in order to use it. Letter names are only important for spelling words out loud, which is something non-readers are not ready for at this time. In fact, I discourage kids from spelling words aloud because it adds the extra step of translating the sound to the letter name. When was the last time you really needed to spell a word out loud to someone? It was probably because they didn't know how to spell it, right? Or maybe it was an oral test or a spelling bee. But if you think about it, passing that test itself doesn't help you learn to read, does it? Younger students can spell by writing down the sounds they hear in the word, which is how I teach my students to spell in my classes. Kids who learn the letter names first often end up with more syllables and the wrong sounds when trying to read. Take, for example, the word cat. If you say the letter names and blend them together, you get CAT, which is a 3-syllable word sounding nothing like cat. The first sound in the letter name for C is S, which prevents students from saying when they need to. I've had countless students who say D when they see the letter W because the letter name for W starts with D, W, right? Same for the letter Y. Kids say W when they see it because they learn the letter name first, Y. It happens with other letters as well, but those are the most common errors I hear. If students learn to depend only on the sounds, it leaves out the extra vowel sounds from the letter names, and they only get the sounds to blend into the word, which is the goal. The letter name for C is actually 2 sounds, S and long E, S, E. The A in the word should be the only vowel sound. Vowels create syllables. The letter name for T also has 2 sounds, T and E, T. Learning letter names first makes reading more difficult. Learning to read is hard enough. Why make it more challenging? There is a time for learning letter names, but it's after students have mastered the sounds of the letters and have learned to depend on the sounds when sounding out unfamiliar words and spelling them. Just because letter name recognition shows up on a test at school somewhere, it doesn't mean it's important to learn it first. Consider what you need to learn from the test results and when the skills are really necessary. I hope that is helpful to teachers and parents of young children. It definitely takes a shift in thinking to refer to letters with only their sounds while teaching, but it will prevent a lot of confusion. Take one step at a time and start with the closest step first. I hope I've served you well. Until next time, bye.